Hey guys, this is Bales. I'm looking at MLB player models and going to show you how to create lineups, whether it's a single lineup or multiple lineups on FantasyLabs. So after you create a model that you like, you can optimize or build lineups off of it. So the simplest way to do this is just click optimize. I don't recommend that you actually necessarily always use that lineup. I click optimize and look at the optimal just because I think it's interesting. A lot of times you might have guys in there who you weren't expecting just because mathematically that's what makes sense given your model, and maybe you'll open your eyes to some different possibilities. But the way that I like to use this is more as a builder. So we can clear the players here and we can build just like we would at DraftKings, except that we have all of this awesome data to use. So let's say we want Cargo in our lineup. We just click lock and he will be added to the lineup. And so we can do that across all positions, and we can build a lineup just like that and click save, or we can put in a core like this and then optimize around that core. So those players will be forced in and then it'll build around that. So when you find a lineup that you like, you click save and it will be saved to your My Lineups page where you can upload it right to DraftKings or FanDuel. You can also exclude players. So here on the right, if you just don't want Liriano in any lineups, exclude him. You can either re-optimize or select a pitcher and he will not be in those. You can also return him by clicking excluded players. And you can do the same thing with teams. Exclude an entire team. We would exclude the Rockies there and return them to models. So that's how to create a single lineup. We also have a multiple lineup tool that we built. It's new just for MLB that is really interesting, that has filters. So you can set parameters for the lineups you want to create. So we'll say we want to create 10 lineups, min salary cap 99%, avoid the opposing pitcher. We pretty much always want that checked, except maybe in super short slates. And we can just set parameters for which types of players that we want it. So we can set min ratings. We can consider players only in certain areas of the batting order. So we might want only 1 through 7, 1 through 6, 1 through 5. Set a minimum K per 9, which I really like to do, especially on DraftKings for pitchers. So it will only consider pitchers with a K per 9 above 7.5, for example. And we can add other filters. So precipitation chance for pitchers, we might add that and say we only want pitchers in games with a 30% chance of rain or less. And so you can actually save this as a template. You save the changes, and if you come back into this, those settings will be saved so that you don't need to continue to do that. So there was 112 players in this particular slate, and 82 of them are still in contention using these particular filters. So you can play around with those and generate lineups. So we created 10 lineups based on those. We have a player exposure here on the right, and it has the percentage of actual lineups that a player is in, and then we can actually change that. So Jose Reyes is in 4 of these 10. Let's say we want him in 7. We will put in 70%, save, and it will regenerate and get him in as close to that as possible, and it did get him in 7 of the 10. So you can change that. You can also move up. If we move up this rating, for example, and regenerate, you should have a lower number of players, less exposure. So here we have 40. You can keep moving that up to narrow the player pool based on how much you want to diversify or not. And then the really cool thing that we can do here is stack. So I'll head out and clear this so that we don't have any players locked in. And we'll say that we want to stack the Pirates, and we want to do 5 batters from the Pirates. So we can do something as simple as that, generate lineups, and all 10 lineups. I guess we need to change these filters. All 10 lineups will have a 5-man Pirate stack in them. So we can also do different types of stacks. So if we want to go 5-man Pirates, 3-man Dodgers, we can do that as well. And so every single lineup is a 5x3 Pirates and Dodgers stack. So you can mess with the filters, change the player count, and it's just a way to create a whole bunch of lineups based around the stacks and types of players who you want. So we might create 10 Pirate stacks that have the Dodgers as a supplementary stack. We might do 5 more that have a different team, all of them, say, with pitchers who have at least an 8.0 K per 9 and only looking at batters in the top 6 spots or something like that. Regenerate, and then when you're done, you can save the lineups, and again, they'll go to the My Lineups page where you can export them right to the daily fantasy sites. So there's a lot of really cool stuff here. You can save these templates, rename them to whatever you want. So this one might be John's GPP template, and then that'll be saved for you, and you can alter it as you get feedback. And then the last thing is, because we're actually looking at a past date, we can see the actual points. So you can go back into this, and you can go back into your My Lineups page, and you can go back into the optimizer and look at how lineups actually performed. So these are the actual points that these lineups scored. None of them very good, unsurprisingly, since we didn't put in much effort here. But yeah, that's pretty much how you use the new lineup builder. I think it's going to be really, really valuable, especially with the stacking features for MLB this year.